So what is the buddhi? Balavat anishta sadhanam. All the ultimate buddhi is what? That hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam. The hananam brings about a strongly undesirable consequences. This is what the person learns from this statement, na hantavya. What is Vishishta Ishta Sadhanatvam? Says Puranandaya, Vishishtam cha tat Ishta Sadhanatvam cha iti karmadharaya. That which is Vishishta as well as Ishta Sadhana. Ishta Sadhana all right, but a qualified Ishta Sadhanam. Tasacha Hananam Balavat Anishta Asadhanam Sat Ishta Sadhanam. That Hananam is Ishta Sadhanam is a means for Ishta or desirable, and while not being the means for a strongly undesirable effect. Iti hanane balavat anishta asadhanatva vishishta ishta sadhanatvam. So this person thinks that hananam is ishta sadhanam while not being the balavat anishta sadhanam. This is what bhranti praptamanudya. This kind of an understanding or thinking that this person entertains, that hantavya only brings about is anuvada, or reiterating this bhranti that is there in this person. And then nakara, what does it do? Then na iti abhava bodhane balavat anishta sadhanam hananam iti buddhi bhavati. When na comes, then there is a negation. So far he thought that balavat anishta asadhanam. Now we realize that is balavat anishta sadhanam iti buddhi bhavati. Balavat anishta sadhanam hananam iti buddhi bhavati iti yat tat katham ityataha. How is it? Okay. Hanane tavat or hanane tatkalika iti. Hanane तात्कालिक इष्ट साधनत्व विशेष्य सत्वेन विशिष्ट अभाव बुद्धेः विशेषण अभाव पर्यवसानात्. हनने तात्कालिक इष्ट साधनत्व विशेष्य सत्वेन. Hananam is ishta sadhanam, but what? Tatkalika ishta sadhanam. Hananam merely is a momentary ishta sadhanam. Momentarily gives me some pleasure. Tatkalika ishta sadhanatva rupa visheshya satvena. Vishisht abhava buddhehe visheshana. There is a visheshana and there is a visheshya. Visheshana is adjective. Visheshya or vishishta is that which is qualified. Visheshana is qualification and visheshya is that which is qualified, and vishishta is the qualified one. So, tatkalika ishta sadhanatva is what is qualified, and balavat anishta sadhanatvam is the qualification. So, tatkalika ishta sadhanatva rupa visheshya sattvena vishishta abhava buddhehe. So, when vishishta abhava buddhi is there, visheshana abhava parivasanat, visheshana abhava buddhi also comes. So, ishta sadhanatvam, so anishta sadhanam. When vishishya or vishishta is negated, the visheshana also gets negated. Naturally, when you say that the good person is not there anymore, when you say the person is no more, that good, that visheshana also is no more there. When the visheshya is not there, the visheshana also is not there. And therefore, when ishta sadhana abhava is there, that balavat anishta asadhanatva, that visheshana, the abhava also comes. So, balavat anishta asadhanatva abhava is what? Balavat anishta sadhanatvam. Asadhanatva abhava is what? Two abhavas are there, so sadhanatvam. So, balavat anishta sadhanam. This is the kind of buddhi that ultimately comes in this person. That's what is said there. Visheshanam cha, that himself explains. Visheshanam cha, chakara is added here, but Visheshanam cha balavat anishta asadhanatvam iti. We already said that balavat anishta asadhanatve sati ishta sadhanatvam tatkalika ishta sadhanatvam. Tatkalika ishta sadhanatvam is there, but balavat anishta asadhanatve, that is what he thought. Tad abhavaha balavat anishta sadhanatvam na yartha iti paryavasannam. Meaning two abhavas make one bhava. And so balavat anishta sadhanatvam, that is the paryavasannam, meaning the ultimate meaning or ultimate effect of the nakara is to create in him the buddhi that hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam. He thought it is tatkalika ishta sadhanam and balavat anishta sadhanam, but then by nakara that balavat anishta sadhana abhava or balavat ishta sadhanatvam is what is actually revealed by nakara there. That's the idea. So ultimately he comes to know that hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam killing is very bad or is very wrong, that it will bring about very undesirable consequences. Sis Punande Atra Hanane Vishisht Ishta Sadhanatvam Ishta Asadhanatvam Ishta Sadhanatvam Anudya Na iti Abhava Bodhanena Praptaha Vishishta Abhavaha Visheshana Abhavayartaha. That Vishishta Abhava culminates into Visheshana Abhava. Vishishta Abhava iti. Visheshana Vishishtasya Abhavaha Tad Buddhehe Visheshana Abhave Parivasana Nityartha. Visheshana Vishishtasya Abhavaha. That Vishishta, which is a qualified Vishishta, Tasya Abhavaha Tad Buddhehe Visheshana Abhave. So Vishishta is naturally qualified. So when there is an abhava of the qualified, there is also abhava of the qualification. Ityartha. Hanane balavat anishta sadhanatvasya sattvat tatkalika ishta sadhanatruva visheshasya sattvacha. In the beginning, for this person, when he does not know what hananam actually is going to bring about, there are two things. Balavat ishta sadhanatva hanane balavat anishta sadhanatva. According to scriptures, Hananam is what? Balavat anishta sadhanam. That is very bad consequences are there. Tatkalika ishta sadhanatru visheshasya sattvacha. In the mind of the person, Hananam is what? Some tatkalika ishta sadhanam is there. So according to scripture, Hananam involves balavat anishta sadhanam. And according to this fellow, tatkalika sukha. Both are there. Sattvacha. Balavat anishta asadhanatvaruva visheshana abhavadeva. बलवत् अनिष्ट साधनत्व विशिष्ट इष्ट साधनत्व भाव वक्तव्य है यदि विशिष्ट भाव नहीं अर्थ यदि अनेन विशेषण भाव एव परिवसानात् नहीं अर्थ यदि उक्तम इति भाव है. सो सत्वाच्च बलवत् अनिष्ट असाधनत्व रूप विशेषण अभावादेव. सो दिस नकार एक्चुअली टीचेस अस दैट बलवत् अनिष्ट असाधनत्व इज नॉट देयर. बलवत् अनिष्ट असाधनत्व विशिष्ट इष्ट साधनत्व भाव वक्तव्य है. And therefore, the Ishta Sadhanatvam, which was qualified by Balavat Anishta Asadhanatvam, so that whole thing is negated. Iti Vishishta Bhavaha Nayartaha. So actually Nayartha is Vishishta Bhavaha. Iti Anena Visheshana Abhaveva Parivasanat. But Vishishta Bhava always ultimately also means Visheshana Bhava. And therefore, Visheshana Bhave Nayartaha Yuktaha. So he said, Pitnabhavakara, that Visheshana Abhava Parivasana. Although it is Vishishta Abhava that is actually taught by Na, but then Vishishta Abhava also brings about Visheshana Abhava. Visheshana is Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam. Tasya Bhava is Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam. So Buddhi that ultimately comes in the mind of this person is, this is Balavat Anishta Sadhanam. Hananam is Balavat Anishta Sadhanam, meaning has very strong undesirable consequences. बलवद अनिष्ट साधनत्वं नाम बलवद अनिष्ट साधनत्व अभावः. तस्य तव्य प्रत्यार्थ एकदेशस्य विशेषणस्य यः अभावः न अर्थरूपः सन् बलवद अनिष्ट साधनत्व रूपः एव अभाव अभावस्य भावरूपत्वात्. दैट्स व्हाट वी डिस्कस. अभाव अभावस्य भावरूपत्वात्. द एब्सेंस ऑफ एब्सेंस इज एक्चुअली प्रेजेंस. एंड तथा च चरम अभावंशमादाय बलवद अनिष्ट साधनत्वं न अर्थ इति भावः. That charama bhava, anshamadaya, ultimately balavat ishta sadhanatva bhava or balavat anishta sadhanatvam iti nayataha. In short, nakara there means balavat anishta sadhanatvam. This is actually tavya brings about ishta sadhanatvam, and nakara is brings about anishta sadhanatvam. Not only absence of ishta sadhanata, but presence of anishta sadhanata. This is important for the Siddhanta. That hantavya means in Hananam some Ishta Sadhanata is there. Na Hantavya, that Ishta Sadhanata is not there. That's not so. Not only Ishta Sadhanata is not there, Anishta Sadhanata is there. So Na Hantavya, that Nakara actually reveals Anishta Sadhanata of Hananam. Hantavya reveals the Ishta Sadhanata of Hananam, and Na Hantavya reveals Anishta Sadhanata of Hananam. Not only absence of Ishta Sadhanata, but presence of Anishta Sadhanata, because the Ishta Sadhanata is Balavat Anishta Sadhanatve Sati Ishta Sadhanatvam. Since that qualification is involved there, therefore by negating the qualified Ishta Sadhanam, that qualification Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam also is negated, and two negations make Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam. And therefore, in fact, this Na only brings about Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam of Hanana Kriya. that killing has strongly unfavorable or undesirable consequences. So, Anishta Sadhanata is actually taught. Not Ishta Sadhana Bhava, but Anishta Sadhanata is taught by this Na. And like Yajeta, that Ta there teaches Ishta Sadhanata of Yajanam. And Na Hantavya there, Na Tavya teaches what? Anishta Sadhanata of Hananam. This is what the point is here. And that's important. Anishta Sadhanata should be generated. Then only he'll stop doing it. Even if you think that there is no Ishta sadhana, bhava alone is not perhaps incentive enough for him to stop. He is ready to kill or ready to drink alcohol. So, ठीक है, alcohol से कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है, doesn't matter, still I will drink. But if he says if you drink alcohol there is going to be a heart attack, then it is a different thing. Balavad anishta sadhanatvam. That is how people are ultimately they don't stop otherwise. When the doctor tells him next peg, one more and you are gone. Any more sweets and that's it. Your diabetes is out of control. Balavat anishta sadhanatvam is there in sweets, then he stops it. Until then he goes on, taking liberty with it. ठीक है, borderline, this line, that line, like that you go on with it. Then it reaches the point that the borders are all gone. Any more indulgence in sweets is going to bring about, this wound will not be healed. This operation cannot be performed. You have cataract, but we can't perform the operation because diabetes. You need this operation, surgery, we cannot do that because of diabetes. And the diabetes is going to bring about this consequence, and this all your veins are going to be coated, and then that's why when Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam is actually painted by the doctor, then alone this person will actually desist from doing it, otherwise he will not. If at all, And so depends on the person. After all, there are people whom you cannot teach at all. But then, generally speaking, people who are reasonable can be communicated with. Okay, now continuing, says Ratnaprabha, Tad buddhi audasinya paripalika. This buddhi is what? Balavat anishta sadhanatva buddhi. The hanam is balavat anishta sadhanam. This buddhi is what? Audasinya paripalika. Paripalika protects. Becomes a means for protection or retaining or keeping that audasinyam which was there, which is nature. Naturally, person doesn't want to kill. Some raga comes and he wants to kill. That raga subsides by nahantavya. When it subsides, he becomes his normal self. It's not that a person all the time thinks of killing. When a person is normal, killing is or such anishta thing is not there. When something happens, then he hears something, that something has happened somewhere, and he gets excited, In Kashmir something happened, this fellow got excited. In Baroda something happened, he gets excited, he starts something here. Why? Why did they do that? In Ayodhya something happened, in Hyderabad something starts. So actually that desire or that activity to do something undesirable is incited by something. Because the potential is there in this person. And some incident actually only invokes that potential. And therefore, he has a tendency to do something anishta. And that tendency goes away by this nahantavya. Then he remains his normal self, which is free from any tendency. Therefore, then killing does not come. Not that he is to make an effort. Audasinya means effortless absence of killing. If all the time he hold himself back for not killing, sometimes when people are fighting, you hold them back, And so much so that, then it takes half an hour. You require 10 fellows to hold him back. Sometimes when fellows are fighting, so much excitement is there. You have to hold him back for so long. Ultimately that impulse goes away and then it becomes quiet. Then it goes away as though nothing has happened. But until then, it is necessary that tendency has to quiet. Until then you keep on holding him. If you release him, he will start again. So you can see how the human mind works, and how all this mechanism in the human mind are kept in view when this kind of instructions are given. Of course, the nahantavya is considered a waste because for scriptures there is a tremendous reverence. Or fear also is there. And therefore, nahantavya means, there's a wait a minute. It's like some important person telling you, or somebody whom you respect is telling you, then you take those, you give weight to those words. And then, tad buddhi audasinya paripalika. That's all. This buddhi doesn't bring about any new sankalpa. It doesn't bring about any activity. What does it bring about? Audasinyam. Meaning, a natural inactivity is brought about, is the consequence of this buddhi. So, na hantavya. When nakara is connected with tavya, then also result is what? Result is only audasinyam. When nakara was connected with han, then also result was audasinyam. When connected with tavya, then also result is audasinyam. However you connect it. If you connect with han, then mimamsaka will connect with tavya. If you connect with tavya, he will connect with han. So both ways you will show. Either way you connect that nakara, either way the result is what? Audasinyam only. And that is necessary to show. And so Bhashyakara abhava iti says on the page 182, abhava buddhischa audasinya karanam sacha dagdhan dhanagnivat swayameva upashamyati. Abhava buddhischa audasinya karanam. Abhava buddhischa. He says chaha apyartha. Abhava buddhi api. Api means also. That means another hetu is being said here. Pakshantara dyoti. This is all Ratnavrakara's interpretation also. That chakara. Anyway. But so abhava buddhischa, you can continue that abhava buddhi is hananava buddhi also. But anyway, or you can nayascha swabhava yat swasambandhina abhavam bodhayati, whichever way it is connected with. Swasambandhina, connected with prakrutyartha, then also abhava of hananam, connected with pratyartha, then abhava or not abhava, then anishta sadhanatva bodha. And that abhava is audasinya karanam. So chaha apyartha pakshantara dyoti. Another paksha. What is another paksha? Connected with nakara with tavya pratyaya. That pakshantara. Therefore, Ratnavrakara understood cha in the sense of api. And api always is then pakshantara dyoti. It gives you another paksha. Therefore, Ratnavrakara gave the whole paksha by yadva. That nayah prakrutya sambandha astu. So what does it mean? Api also means prakrutyartha abhava buddhivat pratyartha abhava buddhi api. Just as prakrutyartha abhava, just as hanana abhava brought about audasinyam, then pratyartha abhava buddhi. So anishta sadhanatva buddhi also brings about audasinyam. Both ways, audasinyam is the result. Paripalaka rakshana hetu prakrutyartha abhava buddhivat iti यथा हनन अभाव से पूर्णानंदी यथा हनन अभाव बुद्धि औदासीन्य कारणम तथा विशेषण विशिष्ट विशेष्यम तद् प्रत्यार्थ है तद अभाव नहीं अर्थ है तद बुद्धि औदासीन्य कारणम इत्यर्थ है. जस्ट एज हनन अभाव बुद्धि एब्सेंस ऑफ हननम also is औदासीन्य कारणम as was discussed earlier. So also विशेषण विशिष्ट विशेष्यम, that Visheshya, which is qualified by Visheshana, Tavya Pratyartha hai. What is Tavya Pratyartha? Visheshana, Vishishta, Visheshyam, Tavya Pratyartha, Tad Abhava Naya. Said, Nayasya Esha Svabhava, Yat Swasambandhinasya Abhavaham, Abhavam Bodhayati. So Swasambandhi is Visheshana, Vishishta, Visheshyam, Tavya Pratyartha, Tad Abhava Nayartha, Tad Buddhi, meaning Anishta Sadhanatva Buddhi, Audasinya Karanam Ityartha. So two Vyakhyan are given, and that is more complicated than the Vyakhyan that we understood, says Punanandya. Prathama Vyakhyane Hanan Abhavaha Dukkha Abhava Hetuhu. He just reminds us the discussion. Prathama Vyakhyane, when Nakara was connected with Prakrutyartha Han, then Hanan Abhavaha Dukkha Abhava Hetuhu. That absence of killing is the means for absence of dukkha. Iti prakrutyartha abhava visheshyaka dukkha abhava hetutva prakaraka buddhya. So what is the buddhi? Buddhi is dukkha abhava hetu. The buddhi that ultimately the conclusion that comes in his mind is that dukkha abhava hetu, which is what? Prakrutyartha abhava visheshaka. Prakrutyartha is hanana. So hanana abhava visheshaka dukkha abhava hetutva. In his mind the buddhi is that hananam, that ahananam, na hananam will bring about dukkha abhava, because hananam is dukkham, dukkha sadhanam or anishta sadhanam, and therefore na hananam is what? Anishta asadhanam. So anishta asadhanatve sati dukkha asadhanam. That is how he actually understands that. So prakrutyartha abhava visheshaka dukkha abhava hetutva prakaraka. That buddhi which is prakaraka, which is of this kind, where dukkha abhava hetutva is a buddhi, is there. Hetutva is a qualification of buddhi, with dukkha abhava is again qualified by prakrutyartha bhava, hanana bhava. Hananam dukkha sadhanam in short. So hananam dukkha sadhanam nahantavya creates the buddhi in him. Hananam dukkha sadhanam, that killing is a means for anishta. Iti jnanam, so jnanam should be brought before artha. Iti jnanam arthat utpadyate. So as a consequence, the jnanam that is generated is hananam dukkha sadhanam. Killing is dukkha sadhanam. That is the jnanam that comes in him. Tena jnanena hananasya ishta sadhanatva bhranti nivritti dvara. By this knowledge that hananam is dukkha sadhanam, so hanana, so far in his mind, hananasya ishta sadhanatva bhranti. He thought hananam will bring about some sukha. That bhranti nirasa happens. Bhranti nivritti dvara. That bhranti of the delusion in his mind is eliminated. Hananat purushaha nivartate. And this is how a person is prevented from nivartate. He is prevented from killing. Iti prayatna rupa nivritti utpadyate. First nivritti is what? Prayatna rupa. Some tendency was there. That tendency is, now there is a cessation of the tendency. Taya siddham audasinyam. And then audasinyam or absence of activity is siddham, is already there. Pragabhava siddham audasinyam hanana pragabhava rupam tathaiva tishtati. And therefore, before the excitement was there was no hananam in him, no tendency to kill. And that lack of tendency of killing, which is absence of any intention of killing, which was there formerly, gets established. It got destroyed at some reason because of some incident. And so that excitement came, that nivritti of the excitement happens, again audasinyam comes in that person. Iti prakrutyartha abhava buddhi audasinye karanam vyapadishyate. And therefore prakrutyartha abhava buddhi or hanana abhava buddhi is audasinya karanam. So first Vyakhyana told us that when nakara is connected with han, then hananam dukkha sadhanam is the ultimate buddhi, that is called prakrutyartha abhava buddhi, or hanana abhava buddhi is because hananam dukkha sadhanam, and therefore audasinya karanam vyapadishyate. It becomes a means for audasinyam. Dvitiya Vyakhyane to, however, when nakara is connected with tavya, hananam balavat anishta sadhanam iti, then this is the buddhi that generates. In first, hananam dukkha sadhanam. Here, hananam balavat anishta sadhanam. Iti hanana visheshika pratyartha ekadeshasya bhava prakaraka buddhya hanane vishesha bhava prakarakam. What? Anishta sadhanam. Not only that, nakara teaches you the absence, but teaches you the presence of anishta sadhanatvam. It is not only that ishta sadhanatva bhava, but anishta sadhanasya bhava. Anishta sadhanatvasya bhava is being taught by nakara. So bhava prakaraka buddhya, that buddhi, that this is balavat anishta sadhanam. So that is bhava. Is not that that hananam is that nakara only teaches us ishta sadhana bhava, but actually it teaches us anishta sadhana bhava or anishta sadhana sattvam. So hanana visheshika pratyarthaka ekadeshasya bhava prakaraka buddhya hanane vishishta ishta sadhanatva bhranti nashadvara. And so there was a bhranti that hananam is ishta sadhanam by nashadvara. Hananat purusha nivartate. By creating him, the buddhi is hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam. Then also the same thing. Then the person is stopped or prevented from killing. Iti prayatna rupa nivritti utpadyate. Again, that nivritti which involves some prayatna comes. Taya hanana pragabhava rupa audasinyam siddham tathaiva tishtati. And by that audasinyam which was already there just remains there. Is protected. Is not disturbed, but is protected. and remains. Tasmat pratyartha abhava buddhi audasinye karanamiti vyapadishyate iti nishkushtartha. So pratyartha abhava buddhi also is audasinye karanam. Prathama vyakhyane anishta sadhanatvam arthikataya bodhyate. That prasama sadhane hanana bhava, and that ultimately brings about the, so immediate meaning is hanana bhava. But arthikataya, as a consequence, it creates in him the buddhi that hananam is dukkha sadhanam. So prasama vyakhyane anishta sadhanatvam arthikataya bodh. Arthikataya means as a consequence. Dvitiye tu pratyaya na shabdabhyam bodhyate. Dvitiye na tavyah. So immediately anishta sadhanatvam is, so in first case anishta sadhanatvam is known as a consequence. In the second case anishta sadhanatvam is known immediately. That's the bheda. प्रथमे इष्ट साधनत्व मात्रम तव्य प्रत्यार्थ तेनैव उक्तरीत्या औदासीन्य निर्वाहात् द्वितीये बलवत् अनिष्ट असाधनत्व विशिष्ट साधनत्वं तव्य प्रत्यार्थ इति भेदः. प्रथमे इष्ट साधनत्व मात्रम तव्य प्रत्यार्थ है. So न हन्तव्य, when न is connected with han, then tavya is what? Ishta sadhanam. न hananam ishta sadhanam. So hanana bhava ishta sadhanam. That not killing is ishta sadhanam, meaning killing is anishta sadhanam. That is how we subsequently learned. So prasamae ishta sadhanatva matram tavya pratyartha teneva uktaritya audasin nirvahat. And in the manner in which we said, it brings about the audasinyam. Dvitiye balavat anishta sadhanatva vishishta sadhanatvam. When na is connected with tavya, then balavat anishta sadhanatva sati ishta sadhanatvam. That is the tavya pratyartha hai. This is the difference in the explanations there, or difference in the effect that nakara creates when either connected with prakrutyartha or pratyartha. Minor difference is there, ultimate effect is the same. Okay. Now, says in the last line of page 183, buddhehe क्षणिकत्वात् तद अभावे सति औदासीन्यात् प्रच्युतिरूपा ह्ननादो प्रवृत्ति स्यात्. Says okay, buddhe क्षणिकत्वात्, all right, that hananam anishta sadhanam, balavad anishta sadhanam, that killing is really a sadhanam for balavad anishta, or hananam dukkha sadhanam, that is sadhanam for dukkha. This buddhi does arise in him, but buddhe क्षणिकत्वात्, normally a thought arises in your mind and then goes away. Every thought is what? Momentary. So this thought or the conclusion or the understanding that comes in the mind of this person, by listening to the statement, the hantavya, this buddhi that comes, that is only kshanikam. So for that moment alone, the person will be prevented from the act of killing. So tat abhave, next moment when that buddhi goes away, next moment that hananam balavat anishta sadhanam or dukkha sadhanam, when that buddhi goes away, audasinyat prachitarupa hananado pravritti syat, again that audasinyam goes away, again the fellow, like a child, again and again he starts crying, Why? He thinks that in this person's also, you see, you must have seen the fighting, when people really get excited. He stops, again he starts. Stops. That's true. So this is a question here. That momentary think that this is wrong, or he should not do it. Again something happens. So that's what he's afraid of. He says this buddhi, that balavat anishta sadhanatva buddhi is created in this person. When that buddhi goes away next moment, will not that audasinyam will get disturbed, and again he will start the pravritti in hananam? Tatraha sata. He says no, that is not the case. When this buddhi is generated, you see, because scriptures enjoy a certain position, a certain place in the life of a person, Vaidika person. And therefore the instructions, vidhi and nisheda of the scriptures have a very strong effect. And therefore, if that person knows is told by someone very strong, sometimes father tells the child, you touch him now and you know what's going to happen to you. Then he knows, balavat anishta sadhanam is there. Sometimes the children are fighting. The father says, you touch him again, then he knows that this balavat anishta sadhanam is there. Then all his excitement goes right away. So it depends on who tells him. It's also very important. Scriptures enjoy that position. that nahantavya, when they say it, then immediately the person believes that, hey, balavat anishta sadhanatvam is there, and therefore, whatever excitement was there, pravritti, it just subsides, and then it doesn't arise again. So that is what is said here, sacha iti. He said, sacha dagdhin dhanagnivat swayameva upashamyati. Sa means what? Again there are two explanations. Sa is buddhi, yes, that's what we are talking about. Sa means abhava buddhi, or sa also is ragatah prapta kriya. Two meanings will be given. So sa means abhava buddhi, dagdhin dhanagnivat swayameva upashamyati. Dagdha indhana agni. Dagdha means burned, indhana is firewood, agni is fire. So how the upashamyati, how the fire subsides when all the firewood is burned. And similarly also, whatever raga or excitement was there in this person, when it is burned by this buddhi, then buddhi also comes to an end. The buddhi doesn't have any purpose to serve. Like a person wakes up from dream, and the influence of dream is so strong that it takes a while for the person to really own up the fact that he is awake. So I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake. That particular buddhi will ultimately exhaust away the buddhi in him, that or what the samskara in him of the dream. So dream samskaras are still there of a nightmare. And don't worry, you are awake, you are here, They do this. Am I awake? I'm awake, alright. This happens to people also. In psychology, this is what they find, that very often mind, this happens to everybody in one way or the other. The mind just gets transported. As children, we had gone through certain experiences. And very often, very painful experiences. So certain situation created a great pain in me. And therefore, when it happens again and again in the childhood, immediately a situation brings about that pain. Without going through the step in between. Formerly in the beginning, in a child, when something happened, as a consequence, he had to suffer the pain. And so that process was there. Subsequently, when it happens again and again, immediately that situation comes, as a reflex action, the pain comes. Now, therefore, that is a built-in mechanism in there. So then, when that child grows up to age, even a mature person, physically mature person, then also when a similar situation is presented, immediately his mind by reflex action responds with pain. And all of a sudden you find a person just sad. We find ourselves just sad. What happened? Sometimes you cannot trace the cause of a sadness. Some thought came, maybe. Somebody came. Some letter came. Something happened. All of a sudden you become very sad. There's no big deal about that thing, but you feel tremendously sad. Perhaps because the mind is enacting again the same kind of a experience that it had gone through as a child. So you don't know why this is happening, but this is there in the mind. And similarly, and unless that thing goes away completely, so you have to trace, you have to know the sadness occurs because of this kind of a mechanism that is there. And you have to work on that, and you have to slowly disconnect the two things. That what you are going through right now is 30 years old. That this is not, you are feeling sad because of something that happened 30 years ago. And because your mind connected the present incident with what happened 30 years ago, and what you are right now experiencing is what you were experiencing 30 years ago, person is no more here. He's a child. Then you tell, this is not that time. This is not 1960. This is 1991. Don't worry. And this is a very strong thing actually. Perhaps we don't know much about it in India because there is no study. But in the West, a lot of studies have been done. And this is called flashback. They call this flashback, this mechanism of flashback. Mind just goes back 30 years, 20 years, 15 years or some childhood and just relives the same experience that the child lived and doesn't even know why this is happening to me. At that time, perhaps some kind of an incident happened and maybe the present situation reminds you of that incident. Mind just goes back. Just a little link, it goes back and experience a tremendous pain. People suffer. In India, we will say, Ghosh, Bhoot Avyo. This is what we will say. Bhoot Vadgyu. When a person behaves in an irrelevant manner, either laughing or weeping, then we say Bhoot Vadgyu. So they don't call it bhoot or ghost. They will call it flashback. That this person must have gone through similar experience. Let us look at it in the childhood. We just see, total lack of understanding of person's mind will actually, you take him to all kinds of all kinds of things you do to the person, and further suffering. Most people die suffer further because of the treatment that is given to them. Because of God knows what it is, but anyway. सारंगकुंड हनुमान पास तो भूत जतुर है, तो गया भयथी जतुर है कि भगवान जाने सुधाई जाए जतुर ऐसे कहने गॉड नोस. बट द पॉइंट इज दैट what we call ghost, कि भूत बढ़ गयो, is actually a flashback. So this is how they relate it, and they go back to a past experience, and then they put this person into a trance, and then ask the questions and take him back to the past. And then he starts relating what all happened 30 years ago, not knowing that he's saying this or she's saying this. Then the psychiatrist comes to know that this all has happened. Then you start therapy, telling him that, okay, nothing to worry about. Then you start to explain that. Why this pain and suffering? Why your parents treated you like this? Or why some people treated you like this, etc., etc. Even though the parents are not there right now, the person experiences the same way. Then you tell them. And that is how, only when all that effect gets exhausted, then alone the sadness will go. So all the indhanam is there, that firewood is there. Until that firewood is burned by a new therapy, until then this effect will continue. Similarly, whatever raga is there in this person of killing, until that gets exhausted, when it gets exhausted, then there is no problem, no impulse of killing at all. So this is what is dagdha indhana, dagdhendana agnivat. When the fire must burn the fuel completely, then alone it becomes quiet. Fuel is there, arises again and again, like from a yajna kunda, the fire comes, again quiet. Fire comes, so we find these fires coming sometimes. So some indhanam is there in there. But anyway, so Bhashyakara says, Dagdhindanagnivat swayameva upashamyati sacha. Sacha is what? Yatha agnihi indhanam dagdhva shamyati. Ratnaprabha says, एवं सा नयर्थ अभाव बुद्धि हननादौ अनिष्ट साधनत्व भ्रांति मूल रागेन्द्रम दग्ध्वा एव शाम्यति अक्षरार्थः. सो हननादाव मीन्स हननादौ अनिष्ट साधनत्व भ्रांति मूलम. यथा अग्नि इंधनम दग्ध्वा शाम्यति. जस्ट एज द फायर becomes quiet having burnt all the fuel, even in the same manner, sacha nayartha abhava buddhi. That abhava buddhi, either way, nayartha, hanana abhava buddhi, or that means dukkha sadhanatva buddhi, or balavat anishta sadhanatva buddhi. Hananadau anishta sadhanatva bhranti mula, hananadau ishta sadhanatva, that's how it is. Hananadau ishta sadhanatva bhranti moolam ragendram dagdhva. This fellow had raga because of what? Hananado ishta sadhanatva bhranti moolam. He had a bhranti that hananam is ishta sadhanam. Hananam is a means for something desirable. So that is our bhranti. And that bhranti is the moola for the raga. That brings about in him this raga or some kind of an excitement. So that excitement goes away when the Brahma in his mind, that this act is balavat ishta sadhanam, that ishta sadhanatva bhranti goes away. Then the raga that was created, excitement that was created also goes away, and that is how avadasinyam comes. Dagdhva eva shamyati. Then that ishta, the nayabhava rupa buddhi also shamyati, that also ceases there. Raganashe kutah prachuti bhavaha. When the raga or that excitement or the impulse that has come. Why has the impulse come? Impulse of killing has come because he thinks that killing is ishta sadhanam. And that thinking that this is ishta sadhanam is bhranti. So bhranti, because of bhranti you think that is ishta sadhanatvam, that brings about an impulse, that impulse brings about an activity of killing, act of killing. So na hantavya, that actually subsides that bhranti. When the bhranti is subsided, that impulse also subsides. When the impulse subsides, act also has no occasion to take place. And when that subsiding has taken place, subsequently in future also, this fellow will not, again they will tell him, na hantavya. But that it brings about avadasinyam. So Purnanga says, Nanu, Nayartha Abhava Buddhinashoktiya Shankayaha Kah Parihara. Now, Audasinyat Pratyut Rupa iti. Audasinya Nasha Rupa ityartha. Yada Purushatana Pravutisyat tada Hanana Pragavavanasho Bhavati iti. Pragavavanasho Pravati. That's okay. So, Pratyuti means Pragavavanasha. Nanu Nayartha Abhava Buddhinashoktiya Shankayaha Kah Pariharatyaha iti Aksharartha. So what is the parihara? The Shanka was there that when the Abhava Buddhi goes away, then again the Audasinya Pratyuti will come, meaning again that Audasinya will go away, and again that Hanana Pravrutti will come. So how are you explaining, how are you refuting that and answering that? So Tatparya, so iti Akshara. First the Ratnabhakara gave Aksharartha of this Dagdendanaagnivat Swayameva Shamyati. Aksharartha was given, the word meaning. यथा अग्निहिंद्रम दग्ध्वा शाम्यति एवं सा नयस अभाव बुद्धि हननादौ इष्ट साधनत्व भ्रांति मूलम रागेंद्रम दग्ध्वा एव शाम्यति इति अक्षरार्थः. बट व्हाट इज तात्पर्य इज रागनाशे कुतः प्रच्युतिः. तात्पर्य इज that नय अभाव brings about the abhava of raga, abhava of the impulse. So by elimination of Bhranti, the impulse also is eliminated, and that's how the Audasinyam is protected there. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sūtra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ओम शांति शांति शांति. ओम अथ समन्वयात्. Page 182. Yaschesha svabhavah yat swasambandhinah abhavam bodhayati iti abhava buddhischa audasinya karanam sacha dagdhendhanagnivat स्वयमेव उपशाम्यते. अभाव बुद्धिश्च औदासीन्य कारणम. दिस अभाव बुद्धि साच अभाव बुद्धि दग्धेन्धनाग्निवत् स्वयमेव उपशाम्यते. This sentence was explained on the page 184 by Ratnaprabha. Yatha agnihi indhanam dagdhva shamyati. Just as a fire, having burned the firewood, then becomes quiet, that it gets extinguished. Evam sa nayartha abhava buddhi. Sa abhava buddhi. So nayascha eta svabhavah yat swasambandhinah abhavam bodhayati iti. So Bhashyakara says the primary meaning of nakara should be in the sense of abhava. If you have to take other meaning like viruddha or anya, that would be only by lakshana vritti and only when this primary meaning is not applicable. But swabhava, the nature or the primary meaning is that it only brings about or reveals the abhava, the absence or non-existence of a given thing. Abhava buddhisya audasinyam. So abhava buddhi also brings about only audasinya karanam. So abhava buddhi becomes the karanam for audasinya. As we discussed, audasinya is that which is the nature of the person, something swabhava siddha. And because of raga or because of some impulse, some activity came, so there is an occasion for this activity to happen because of an impulse. And this statement, na hantavya, quietens that impulse. In this case, evam sa nayartha abhava buddhi. The abhava buddhi is of two forms. One is when nakara is connected with han, the dhatvartha or the prakriti, then it means hanana abhava. And when nakara is connected with what we call pratyaya, tavya. Then what's the meaning of pratyaya? Tavya is ishta sadhanam. Tavya always indicates ishta sadhanatvam. But what kind of ishta sadhanatvam? Balavat anishta asadhanatve sati ishta sadhanam. It is not merely a cause of some ishta or desirable end, but balavat anishta asadhanatve sati. That also may taste good and therefore may give a momentary pleasure, but ultimately brings about a very unfortunate consequence. Kalanjam na bhakshayet. Kalanja also is like that. So it is said that kalanja is the meat of a bird or an animal which has been hit by a poisonous arrow. That is, so kalanja is that animal which has been hit by a poisonous arrow. And the meat of such an animal also is called kalanja. So kalanjam na bhakshayet, when it is said, because there is a severely wrong, bad consequences. Eating this meat may be poisonous, and therefore it may also bring about, a death. So when very severe wrong or bad or ill consequences are there, then alone this kind of prohibition is there. So where there is balavat anishta sadhanatvam is there. So balavat anishta asadhanatve sati, that a given act does not bring about a very strong and ill or undesirable consequence. Ishta sadhanatvam, whereas at the same time it brings about desirable consequences. It brings about desirable consequences without bringing about very severely undesirable consequences. So this is called ishta sadhanam. So this is the meaning of tavya pratyaya. So when tavya is added to a verb, then this kind of a sense is conveyed. And when nakara is added to tavya, then it only means this: ishta sadhana abhavaha, or balavat anishta asadhanatve sati ishta sadhana abhavaha. So this is what, either way, abhava buddhi, ishta sadhanatva abhavaha, or it was said yesterday that when the Vishishta Abhava is there, Visheshana Abhava also is there. Visheshanam here is Balavat Anishta Asadhanatvam is Visheshana. Tasya Abhavaha Balavat Anishta Sadhanatvam. So actually, Hanan Abhava Buddhi creates in this person this sense that Hananam Dukkha Sadhanam. And Ishta Sadhanatva Abhava Buddhi creates in him the Buddhi that Hananam is Balavat Anishta Sadhanam. So Hananam Dukkha Sadhanam, or Hananam Balavat Anishta Sadhanam. Either Hananam is Dukkha Sadhanam, cause of Dukkha, or cause of a very severely ill consequences. This is the Nayartha Abhava Buddhi. Hananadav Ishta Sadhanatva Bhranti Moolam Ragendhanam. There is a raga or impulse. As long as impulse is there, so long Hanana Kriya will proceed. Any Kriya will proceed as long as there is an impulse is there. Because the Kriya is essentially motivated by an impulse. So as long as that impulse, which is what we call raga in this case, or dvesha, is there, so long the potential of the Kriya is always there. That Kriya will not proceed only when its cause, namely impulse, goes away. And what's the cause of impulse? The cause of impulse is Bhranti. What is the Bhranti? Ishta sadhanatva Bhranti. In general also, we always have an impulse to get something or enjoy something. Whenever there is a Bhranti, that this is Amisha, this is the Ishta Sadhanam. And so, ahitam, what is it? Hitam samprepsatam. Ahitam sa jihasatam mohad. Hitam samprepsatam mohad. Ahitam cha jihasatam. So say it mohad. It is only because of Bhranti only that a person thinks that a given thing is a means for hita, or a Bhranti that another thing is branded as a cause for ahita. And so it is this raga or dvesha are the products of bhranti. Ishta sadhanatva bhranti or anishta sadhanatva bhranti. In this case, there is a bhranti on the part of this person that hananam is ishta sadhanam. And that brings about raga or impulse of killing. So this raga should go away, otherwise killing potential is always there. So when this abhava buddhi is created, this hananam is dukkha sadhanam or hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam, then that bhranti goes away. Bhranti that hananam is ishta sadhanam, that goes away. When the knowledge takes place, that bhranti is anishta sadhanam or balavat anishta sadhanam. And therefore the raga that was created from that bhranti also subsides, and therefore hanana kriya which would have proceeded on account of the impulse also subsides. Ragendram dagdva. The raga becomes indhanam. Raga becomes a very firewood, dagdva. So this abhava buddhi, this knowledge of either hananam as dukkha sadhanam or hananam as balavat anishta sadhanam, this knowledge eliminates the bhranti and thus eliminates the raga and thus eliminates the very potential of hanana kriya. So dagdva eva shamyati daksharartha. Idea is raganashe kutah prachuti. He is asking, nanu nayartha abhava buddhinashoktya shankayah kah pariharah. In what way have you answered that question? Says raganashe kutah prachuti. When raga is gone, then how can there be prachuti from udasinyam? He says maybe this buddhi, abhava buddhi is kshanika. It comes and goes away. If you say that abhava buddhi brings about a cessation of hananam or it brings about audasinyam, then when abhava buddhi goes away, then audasinya also will go away, in which case hananam will come back. He says no, that will not happen, because even though abhava buddhi goes away, abhava buddhi has already done its job by eliminating bhranti, and bhranti elimination does its job of elimination of impulse, and that impulse elimination does its job of eliminating the kriya. So raganashe kutah prachuti iti bhava. This is the tatparyarthena shankam pariharati. So first aksharartha, the word meaning is given, and it says that it is tatparya is that raganasha takes place, and when raganasha takes place, then kriyanasha also takes place. Then says Purnanande akshararthena shankam parihartum. So when the word sa is interpreted as abhava buddhi, then it is tatparyartha which is applicable. So, but whenever aksharartha can directly give the meaning, you should not go for even the tatparyartha. Aksharartha, when the words directly convey. Akshararthena shankam. But sa was interpreted as abhava buddhi because abhava buddhisya audasinya karanam. So it is said abhava buddhisya audasinya karanam. Sacha dagdhendhanagnivat swayameva upashamyati. So Bhashyakara first mentioned abhava buddhi and then mentioned sa. So the first interpretation of sa is abhava buddhi. In which case, the meaning is as a consequence that abhava buddhi brings about bhranti abhava, brings about raga abhava, and that brings about hanana abhava. Then sa is now interpreted as kriya, in which case directly the meaning comes. So Vyakhyanantaramaha yadva iti says Purana Ratna Prabha yadva ragatah prapta sa kriya raganashe swayameva shamyati ityartha. So ragatah prapta sa kriya upashamyati, that very kriya. So sa buddhi upashamyati is one thing, sa kriya upashamyati, that kriya itself comes to an end when the raga is no more there. So ragatah prapta sa kriya ragendhana nasha. When the indhana of the nature of raga is destroyed, then kriya also gets comes to a cessation or comes to it gets extinguished. Kriya means hanane pravritti rupa kriya ityartha. Anishta sadhanatva jnanena raganashat swayameva kriya shamyate iti bhavaha. Anishta sadhanatva jnana. Abhava buddhi brings about anishta sadhanatva jnanam, and therefore from that raga is gone, and therefore the kriya also is gone. That's the idea. Then says Ratnaprabha, Parapakshe tu hanana virodhi kriya karya iti uktebi hananasya ishta sadhanatva bhranti anirasat prachuti durvara. It's also important. Parapakshe tu. Parapakshe is what? Nishedavakyasya karyaparatva pakshe ityartha. Those people, Mimamsakas, who say that this Nishedavakyam na hantavya and such other vakyas, karyatva pakshe, that it actually instructs a karyam, not merely audasinya or nivrutti, but that another karyam. What is karyam? Hanana virodhi kriya karya. Meaning what? Ahanana sankalpah karya. Hanana virodhi kriya. A kriya that is opposed to hananam, that is what you should do. So what the Mimamsaka says is that na hantavya, when it is said, then also you are asked to do something. What are you asked to do? Hanana virodhi kriya. That may you initiate within yourself a kriya or a sankalpa, a manasa vyapara, which is opposed to hananam. So do that. Na hantavya is to be understood that way. Suppose this person is asked to do, all right, I should not kill, I should not kill, I should not kill. You know, that hanana virodhi kriya is suppose initiated in him. Iti uktepi hananasya ishta sadhanatva bhranti anirasad. And still, the knowledge has not yet taken place in him that hananam is anishta sadhanam. If he understands na hantavya, meaning I should do something that is opposed to hananam, still in his mind the value for hananam has not gone away. He thought that hananam is ishta sadhanam, that ishta sadhanatva buddhi in hananam remains, that hananam is still desirable, it's good to kill him. But since he says, do something that is opposed to kill him, so this fellow keeps on repeating, I should not kill, I should not kill, I should not kill. At the same time thinking that killing is good. Because if this is the interpretation of na hantavya, we say that na hantavya means anishta buddhi, that this anishta sadhanatva buddhi has arisen. That killing is wrong, or killing is dukkha karanam, or killing will bring about very undesirable consequences. That knowledge has taken place by na hantavya. They say that by na hantavya, the knowledge that takes place is I should do something which is opposed to hananam. In which case, that bhranti, that hananam ishta sadhanam has not gone. And so that ishta sadhanatva bhranti remains, so raga also remains, and therefore, when he does not do the sankalpa which is hanana virodhi, the raga, so when that buddhi goes away, which is hanana nisheda buddhi goes away, in that case, again the raga will be there because the bhranti is still there. And therefore, prachuti durvara hananasya ishta sadhanatva bhranti anirasad. Since he continues to think that hananam is desirable, it is like this. So don't tell a lie, speak truth. So that is what we call an obligatory duty. He thinks that speaking truth means I should do something. Or don't tell a lie. It's okay, I should not tell a lie. That is what we call an obligatory value, not an assimilated value. So even when he does not tell a lie, inside he thinks that it would have been nice if I had told a lie, in which case I would have saved this money or I would have gotten this. But since that person said that I should not tell a lie, alright, I will tell the truth. So when, on account of telling the truth, when he has to accept, or he has to put up with a certain loss, he is not happy with it, because that is not his assimilated value, it is an obligatory value. Similar here also, na hantavya, alright, he says that I should not kill. On the other hand, I should do something, some kriya within myself which is opposed to hananam, which he does. But that hananam is ishta sadhanam, it would have been nice had it, it have finished him off. That buddhi remains. At some other time that impulse can arise. And therefore, it is quite possible that audasinya prachuti, that someday that audasinyam will go away, prachuti durvara. So Parapakshe, he also says that what is the consequence if you don't accept this? If you accept our explanation, then that audasinyam gets established. If you don't accept the explanation, in which case, again the purpose is not served by this nisheda vakya. Someday again, the potential of that hanana kriya still remains, and that is not proper, not desirable. Then tasmat prasakta kriya nivrittya udasinnyameva ityadi upasamhara bhashyartham sangrunnadi. So Bhashyakara says tasmat. Says Ratnavra tasmat tad abhavaheva nayarthaha iti upasamharati. Tasmat tad abhavaha. Tad abhavaha. What is tad abhavaha? Tasmat nay karyarthakatva abhavat. So whatever karya that nay brings about, so nay karya or nay tasman nay artha karyarthakatva abhavat. That nay is not in the sense of karya. Nay is only in the sense of this abhava. So since nay does not bring about any karyam in terms of hanana virodhini kriya, therefore tad abhavaha tayoho abhavaha iti vigraha. This is the vigraha. Tad tayoho abhavaha. Tayoho prakrutyartha pratyarthayoho abhavaha eva. So tad abhava is to understood as two abhavas. Prakrutyartha abhava and pratyartha abhava. We said yesterday and we have been discussing how nakara can be connected with prakriti, namely han, or can be connected with pratyaya, namely tavya. One brings about hananam dukkha sadhanam, other brings about the buddhi hananam balavat anishta sadhanam. So tayoho abhava eva iti anena. So this is tayo tad abhava eva na arthaha iti upasamharati. That should be the artha of this na hantavya. This is the abhava is the meaning and not another kriya or not virodhi kriya, but abhava alone should be the meaning of this na. That's what Bhashyakara says. The last word on the page 183. Last letter actually. Tasmat prasakta kriya nivrittya udasinyameva brahmano nahantavya ityadishu pratishedhartham manyamahe anyatra prajapativrtadibhyah. Tasmat prasakta kriya nivrittya udasinyam. It was explained earlier. Nivrittya udasinyam is nivritti upalakshita udasinyam. Nivritti actually ultimately udasinyam is nivritti sambadham. Udasinyam that takes place because of nivritti. So nivritti is a direct consequence of na. And udasinyam is that which happens as a consequence of that. So nivritti is the immediate result of this nakara, and udasinyam is that which takes place as a nivritti, or that which gets established, not takes place, but udasinyam that gets protected or established or maintained. Udasinyam that is maintained as a result of nivritti. So nivritti takes place and udasinyam gets maintained. Tadeva brahmano hantavya ityadishu pratishedhartham manyamahe. Manyamahe. We believe, the Vedantins believe that pratishedhartham, the pratisheda artha, the artha of na or nakara, in such statements as brahmano hantavya, the purpose is only nivrittya udasinyam, nivritti upalakshita udasinyam, iti manyamahe. This is what we believe. For which enough reason is given, of course. It's not that we are only expressing our belief based on tasmat. Tasmat means what? You said it, tasmat nayartha karyarthakatva abhavat. Since nay cannot mean another karyantaram, or it does not mean virodhi karyam, it only means abhava. So tad abhavaha eva nayarthaha iti. So tad abhavaha eva iti anena prasakta kriya ityadi bhashyarthaha. So prasakta kriya nivrittya udasinyam is tad abhavaha. Tad abhava means tayoho abhavaha. And so prakrutyartha abhava, pratyartha abhava brings about nivrittya udasinyam. Prasakta kriya. Prasakta means for which there is an occasion. Svabhavatah prapta kriya. That kriya that's what Bhashyakara said here. So what is it? Svabhava prapta hantyartha anuragena. Nayaha. And na is connected with the svabhava prapta hanti. Hananam that is obtained as a result of svabhava. This is raga. And so prasakti is there. Prasakti means prasanga. there is an occasion for the Hanana to take place because there is a raga or impulse in this person, and therefore for which there is an occasion, Kriya, that is Hananam, that is what is negated here, and so an abhava of that Kriya is alone the purpose here. Nayartha ityayena pratishedartha iti bhashyasascha. So pratishedartham iti bhashyarthascha pratishedartham manyamahe. So nayartha pratishedartham means nayartha, that's all. Iti bhashyarthascha sangrahita iti bhava. Idea is Ratnaprabhakara does not give a word meaning of that Vakya, but then he gives even a smaller Vakya to give the meaning what Bhashya Vakya is. That's what Purnanandaya says. Evakaraha tadanyat tadviruddha vyavachedārthakah. So audasinyam eva, Bhashya says. What does eva mean? So or tad abhava eva nayartha. That evakara in Ratnaprabha is the same as evakara of the Bhashya, and eva is vyavachedakah, meaning that excludes something. What does it exclude? Tadanyat tadviruddha. That is anya kriya or viruddha kriya. So meaning of the na in the sense of anya or viruddha is not the meaning. Abhava alone is the meaning. That's the idea there. But they are not finished yet. I mean, Bhashyakara is finished, Tikakaras are not finished. So on page 185, Purnanandaya continues. Nanu Hanana abhavaha ishta sadhanam iti jnanasya jayamanattvena vidheyatvat. Well, all right, you would accept that this Hanana abhavaha ishta sadhanam. So Hananam is dukkha sadhanam. So Hanana abhavaha is ishta sadhanam in that sense. That absence of killing or not killing is something that is good. But for this person in whom there is a raga, for the person in whom there is an impulse of killing, for him definitely not killing is ishta sadhanam, is good. Iti jnanasya jayamanattvena. This jnanam is born. That means this jnana is karyam of the effect. Anything that is effect is created. So jayamanattvena vidheyatvat. Effect is always brought about as a result of some activity. This is the idea. So when a pot is born as a result of something, doing something on the clay, then pot is born as a result of kriya, and therefore kriya must be involved whenever any product is there. So when kriya is involved, vidheyatvam is involved. So jayamanattvena vidheyatvat, since his buddhi or the jnanam also is born as a result of the instruction, whenever something is born, some kriya must be involved, and therefore where kriya is involved, vidheyatva meaning an injunction is involved. Kasam nishedavakyasya karyarthakatvam nasti iti. How do you say that nishedavakya na hantavya does not have karyarthakatvam, does not involve a kriya? How do you say that? Ityada bhavartha abhavena iti, says Ratnaprabha. Bhavartha abhavena tad vishayaka kriti abhavat karya bhavaha tachabdartha. Tasmad iti. Tati tasmad is what? Bhavartha abhavena. Bhavartha abhavena vidheyartha abhavena ityartha. There is no vidheya. Vidheya can be either yaga or some kriya. That no particular kriya or action is enjoined here. Why is it so? Says Purnanandaya, manasantu jnanam pramana prameyajanyam na krutijanya karyam. It is karya all right. It is janyam or born all right. But this knowledge also is born. Knowledge is born not as a result of kruti. Knowledge is born as a result of pramana prameya vyavahara. Shabda in this case is pramana. And that creates a knowledge that hananam is anishta sadhanam or hanana bhavaha ishta sadhanam. This knowledge is born as a result of pramana prameya vyavahara. This pramanam na hantavya, the vakya is there, and the prameya, whatever meaning is there in that vakya, that is understood. So, manasantu jnanam pramana prameyajanyam na krutijanya karyam. So this knowledge is not a product of kriti. Tasmat na karya paratvam vakyasya bhava. Therefore, this vakya does not involve any karya on the part of this person. Something that takes place. Knowledge is something that takes place. Although this was discussed at great length, that even though taking place of knowledge also involves a mental mode, even then that mental mode is not the product of the individual effort. It is a mental mode that takes place because of the pramana prameya vyavahara. That is, your ears are open and you hear something. Is not a result of your own effort. It is a result of the words falling on your ears. That words are prameya, ears are the pramanam. Pramana prameya vyavahara has brought about that knowledge. So knowledge always is a product of pramana prameya vyavahara and not a product of an effort. Therefore, if an individual effort is involved, then vidhanam should be there. Since individual effort is not involved, we cannot say that there is vidheya here. So bhava abhavartha abhavena tad vishayaka kruti abhavat. There is no kruti involved in this nahantavya. Therefore, karya bhavaha. So there is no karya in the sense of there is no kriya or it is not a product in the sense of an effect of some activity. Iti tat shabdartha. The meaning of the word tat in tasmat is this. Now Purnananda continues. Brahmano nahantavya ityadishu प्रतिषेधार्थम मन्यामहेति अपेक्षित पदानि अध्याहृत्य उपसंहार भाष्यम व्याख्यायमिति आह. भाष्यकार said ब्राह्मणो हन्तव्य इत्यादिषु प्रतिषेधार्थम मन्यामहे. That in this vakya we believe that the meaning of the vakya प्रतिषेधार्थम is abhava. Iti apekshita padani adhyahritya. Some words have to be provided there. Upasamhara bhashyam vyakhayam. Ratnabharakara believes that we should supply some words in order to explain this bhashya. Ityaha yadvayadi. So says Ratnava yadvayadi ukta pakshe nivrutyupalakshitam audasinyam yasmat vishisht abhavayattam eva iti vyakhayam. Yadvayadi ukta pakshe. Yadva Nayah Prakritya iti ukta pakshe. If you open page 182, then you will find in the last line of Ratnaprabha, Nayah Prakritya na sambandha. Yadva. Whole new paksha was started that Nakara should be connected with Tavya Pratyaya. So far the discussion was Nakara being connected with Han, the Prakrityartha. Then said Nayah should be connected with Pratyayartha. So Nayah, that one visarga should be added. Yadva Nayah Prakritya iti ukta paksha ityartha. So this paksha that Nakara is to be connected with, not with Prakriti but with Pratyaya, says Yadva iti ukta pakshe nivrutyupalakshitam audasinyam yasmat vishisht abhava ayattam. That audasinyam, the tushrim bhava, nivrutyupalakshitam, that which is implied by nivrutti, or that which is related to nivrutti, that audasinyam that is related to nivrutti. Since yasmad vishishta bhava ayattam, since it is dependent upon or it is connected with vishishta abhava ayattam. We were told yesterday what is visheshana and what is vishishta. Ishta sadhanatvam is vishishtam, balavat anishta asadhanatvam is visheshanam. और बलवत अनिष्ट असाधनत्व विशिष्ट इष्ट साधनत्वम तस्य अभावः. So since that abhava is what brings about the udasinyam and not any kriya, therefore we say that so nivritya udasinya abhavah pratishedharthah iti manyamahe. Therefore we say that meaning of pratisheda is this abhava alone. So Yasmaditi says here Nai karyarthakatva abhavad ityartha. That Nai doesn't have karyarthakatvam. Audasinyam vishishta abhava sadhyameva na karya sadhyam. Audasinyam is achieved as a result of the absence of this ishta sadhanatvam. Vishishta abhava sadhyameva. So hanana abhava hanana abhava anishta sadhanam. That's all. Or hanana bhava ishta sadhanam, hananam anishta sadhanam, or hanana bhava ishta sadhanam. So, audasinyam vishishta abhava sadhyameva न कार्य साध्यम. It is the abhava sadhyam, न कार्य साध्यम. कार्यस्य अभावात इति अभिप्रेत्य उक्तम विशिष्ट अभावायत्तम. Since there is no karyatvam here, there is no kriya involved here, so we say that it is only dependent upon abhava. That's all. Brought about by abhava. So yadvayati dvitiya vyakhyaane balavat anishta sadhanatva vishishta ishta sadhanatvam tava pratyartha iti uktam. In that second vyakhyana, beginning from page 182, balavat anishta asadhanatva vishishta ishta sadhanatvam tava pratyartha iti uktam. They said that tavya means ishta sadhanam. But balavat anishta asadhanatve sati ishta sadhanam. This was the tavya pratyartha uktam. Tathacha vishishtasya pratyarthasya eva pratyarthasya yah abhavah tena ayatam. Ayatam means sampaditam ityartha. Tathacha vishishtasya pratyarthasya. Pratyartha is what? Balavat anishta sadhanatva vishishta ishta sadhana tvam. This is the pratyartha. Tasya yah abhavah. So ishta sadhanatva abhavah tena ayatam tena sampaditam audasinyam. Audasinyam is that which is accomplished by this ishta sadhanatva abhavah. Nivruttipalakshitam audasinyam yasmad nai karyarthakatva abhava vishishta abhavayatam. No new idea is given here. Same idea is being explained round and round, that's all. So, but how kriya is not involved, that's the point here. How abhava alone accomplishes audasinyam and not kriya, that's all. Nivruttipalakshitam audasinyam yasman nai karyarthakatva abhavad vishishta abhavayattam eva na karyayattam na karya sampaditam. Since this audasinyam is not accomplished as a result of karya, but then it is nai karyarthakatva abhavad. Since this nakara does not have any karyarthakatvam, doesn't bring about any karya, vishishta abhavayattameva, it is only the, whatever the meaning of the na is, the abhava of that. So whatever meaning of tavya is, abhava of that alone is what brings about the audasinyam. Tasmad nai karyarthakatva bhavena audasinyasya vishishta abhavayattvatvat विशिष्ट अभाव एव नहीं अर्थ इति पदजातम अध्यारुत्य उपसंहार वाक्यम यद्वायित पक्षे व्याख्यामि फलितार्थ है. तस्मात् नई कार्यार्थकत्व अभावेन. सिंस नकारा डज नॉट हैव एनी कार्यार्थकत्वम औदासीन्यस्य विशिष्ट अभाव आयतत्वात्. सिंस औदासीन्यम इज विशिष्ट अभाव संबंधम संपादितम अभाव एव नहीं अर्थ है. Since audasinyam is brought about merely by the abhava that is conveyed by nai, therefore abhava eva nai artha iti padajata madhyavrutya. These words you should supply upasamhara vakyam yadvaita pakshe vyakhyayam. And so this upasamhara vakyam of bhashyakara is to be explained in this manner. Yadvaita pakshe. Second paksha. In the first paksha, the kriya abhava. Second paksha, ishta sadhanatva abhava. So in the second paksha, when the upasamhara vakya is to be explained, then you must add these words. In the first paksha was prakrutyartha abhava, hanana abhava. Then the bhashya is okay. It looks as though bhashyakara has really meant only prakrutyartha abhava. Looks like it. But this tikakara has also added pratyartha abhava, I think. So you have to go a little roundabout and see that meaning in bhashyakara also. Because Bhashyakara said, Svabhava prapta hantyartha anuragena. On the page 181, Svabhava prapta hantyartha anuragena nayaha hanana kriya nivritta udasinya vidarekena na aprapta kriyarthatvam kalpaitum shakyam. So, hantyartha anuragena. So, hanti and this nakara is connected to han. But anyway, hantyartha can also be interpreted therefore as tavya pratyaya. And so the Tikakara also connected nakara with tavya and interpreted that bhashya can also conveys that meaning. In which case, when this tasmat prasakta kriya nivritya udasinyam, this upasamhara vakyam, if you want to explain with the second explanation of yadva, meaning when nakara is connected with tavya pratyaya, then these words will have to be supplied in order to complete the sense. That's the idea there. That's why I said, Yadvayati Ukta Paksha, in the second Paksha, Ratnaprabha, Nivrutyapalokshitam Audaasinyam Yasmad Vishishta Bhavayatam. So that much you will supply. Yasmad Audaasinyam Vishishta Bhavayatam Vishishta Bhava Sampaditam Tasmad Pratishedartham Nayartaha Manyamahe. So Pratishedartha Manyamahe Ityartha. This much you must supply to complete the sense of that Vakya. Because Tasmad is there and Yasmad must be supplied. Yasmad, so Audaasinyam Vishishta Bhavayatam Tasmad. Audaasinyam hi Nayartha Ayatam Tasya Vishishta Bhavayatam cha. Audaasinyam hi Nayartha Ayatam. Audaasinyam is that which is accomplished as a result of the meaning of na or abhava. And tasya Vishishta Abhavayatam cha. Audaasinyam hi Nayartha Ayatam Tasya Vishishta Abhava. Tasya means then Audasinyasya Vishishta Abhavayatam cha. Okay. So Audaasinyam is brought about by Vishishta Abhava as well as Nayartha, and therefore Vishishta Bhavaya Nayartha iti parivasitam. So Vishishta Bhava, Audaasinyam is brought about as well as Nahantavya, and Audaasinyam is brought about as a result of Ishta Sadhanatva Bhava, and therefore Ishta Sadhanatva Bhava is Nayartha, it is parivasitam. So nothing new is added here, only it is necessary that the Upasamhara Vakya of Bhashyakara can be properly understood only when this additional word is supplied, words are supplied, that's all. Because somebody has raised a question which they are answering, says here, Etena Prathama Pakshokta Prakrutyartha Bhava eva Upasamhrataha. Some people say that Bhashyakara has only done Upasamhara of Prakrutyartha. Where did you get Pratyartha? Na Pratyartha Bhava Upasamhrataha, that Bhashyakara only means to do Upasamhara of Nahantavya in the sense of connecting Na with Prakrutyartha Han, and Na Pratyartha Bhava Uktaha iti Vakyasya Tad Bodhakatva Bhava, that this Bhashya Vakyakara does not actually bring about the meaning that Na is also to be connected with Tavya or Pratyartha. This is Nirastam. This kind of a question is refuted. Adhyaharana Vakyasya Pratyartha Bhava Bodhakatvena api Vyakyatatvad iti Sudhibhi Bhavaniyam. Adhyahara. When you do this Adhyahara, Vakyasya Pratyartha Bhava Bodhakatvena api Vyakyatatvad. With this Adhyahara, you can also show how the Upasamhara Vakya can also bring about the meaning of Pratyartha Bhava. So the Sudhi, the people who are intelligent will see that Bhashyakara has intention of negating Bhava of both. People who are not Sudhi, they only feel that Bhashyakara has only meant the Hanana Bhava, whereas Ishta Sadhanatva Bhava, which is Tavya, what is conveyed by that, also is also commented upon or also meant by Bhashyakara. That's all. This is an internal problem, so that is taken care of here, I guess, anyway. Nanu Prathama Vyakhyane Hanan Abhavaha Dvitiye Vishishta Abhavaha Nayartaschet Tasadhyam Audasinyam Bhavatyeva. All right, whichever way you take. In Prathama Vakhyana Hanan Abhavaha, Dvitiya Vyakhyana Ishta Sadhanatva Abhavaha. Okay, so if this is a Artha, Tat Sadhyam Audasinyam Bhavatyeva. Audasinyam is something that is accomplished as a result of the Nayartha. Either Hanana Bhava or Ishta Sadhana Bhava, Ishta Sadhanatva Bhava brings about this Audasinyam. So Audasinyam is also accomplished as a result of this Nivrutti. Kim Upalakshitatva Visheshanena. Why do you say that Audasinyam is Nivrutti Upalakshitam? Not the Nivrutti Sadhyam. So Nivrutti Audasinyam is Nivrutti Sadhya Audasinyam. Audasinyam that is accomplished as a result of Nivrutti. Why don't you say, instead of saying Nivrutti Upalakshitam, Nivrutti Sambadham Audasinyam, Audasinyam connected with Nivrutti is one thing, Audasinyam accomplished by Nivrutti is another thing. So Nivrutti Audasinyam is Sadhyam. Why don't you say that? Ityaha Swatasiddhasya. Says Ratnavra, Swatasiddhasya Audasinyasya Nayartha Sadhyatva Upapadanartham nivritti palakshittatvam iti dhyayam. Why nivritti audasinyam is interpreted as nivritti palakshita audasinyam? Svata siddhasya audasinyasya. Audasinyam is purusha svabhava, tushnim bhava. Svata siddham is already there, and that audasinyam was disturbed because of some raga, because of some impulse. Impulse that disturbs the person's mind and makes him do things. Why should he do anything? Left to himself, will be quiet, not do anything. Not that he will sleep, he will be quiet. Impulse is there of hunger, therefore he eats. Of thirst, therefore he does. Of enjoy, so he does something. These impulses are there. And otherwise, if the impulse were not there, the person would be udasina, meaning he would be quiet. So, svata siddhasya audasinyasya, this audasinyam, which is the nature of the person, nayartha sadhyatva upapadanartham. We want to say that this nayartha brings about this audasinyam, but aupacharika, sadhyatva means aupacharikam, nivritti palakshittatvam iti dhyayam. That here we say nivritti sadhyam is not there, but nivritti upalakshittatvam, because audasinyam is svata siddham, so it doesn't require anything else to produce audasinyam. Audasinyam, which is already there, just is revealed or manifest or established rather than created. That's all. So says Purnanandaya Svata Siddhasya Atra Abhavani Rupani Vritti Nayartha. We have said already, Abhava Rupani Vritti, Nivritti is Nayartha. Prakrutyartha Abhava Buddho, Prakrutyartha Abhavasya Nayarthasya Hedutvam Vidyate. Prakrutyartha Abhava Buddho, when you say that Hanana Abhava Buddhi is there, Prakrutyartha Abhavasya Nayarthasya Hedutvam Vidyate. Then that Hanana Abhava, that becomes a Hetu, it has Hetutvam or it has a certain causality. Pramayaha vastutantratvat tad buddhi dvara prayatna rupa nivrittim prati hetutvam. It is true that this nivritti is brought about. That because of raga some pravritti was there, and when na or na hantavya brings about that abhava, then nivritti is prayatna sadhya, meaning that knowledge that hananam is dukkha sadhanam or hananam is balavat anishta sadhanam, that brings about a nivritti. So it is that knowledge. So pramayaha vastutantratvat tad buddhi dvara prayatna rupa nivrittim prati hetutvam. So that nayartha brings about a prama of dukkha sadhanatvam or balavat anishta sadhanatvam of hananam. And tad buddhi dvara, by way of that buddhi or that knowledge, prayatna rupa nivrittim prati hetutvam, that nivritti which is accomplished, that is the, so this prama or this buddhi is the hetu for nivritti. Nayarthasya nivritti dvara hetutvam audasinyam prati. So na actually is hetu for nivritti. And nivritti just reveals audasinyam. In that sense, nayartha becomes a hetu for audasinyam. Just as we say that karma is a hetu for moksha, karma is a hetu for antakarana shuddhi, antakarana shuddhi is a hetu for jnanam, and jnanam is a hetu for moksha. In that sense, we can say that karma is a hetu for moksha. So also nayartha is a, or abhava, knowledge. Nayartha brings about knowledge of abhava, or knowledge of, say, that dukkha sadhanatvam or anishta sadhanatvam, and that brings about the brahma nivritti, and that brings about the kriya nivritti. So nayartha becomes a hetu for kriya nivritti, and this kriya nivritti brings about audasinyam. We can say that nay also is a hetu for audasinyam. So nivritti dvara hetutvam audasinyam prati nayarthasya tasmat nayartha sadhyatvam audasinyasya iti bhavaha. So we may say that audasinyam is accomplished as a result of nayartha, even though audasinyam is svata siddham, but a svata siddha audasinya cannot be unless that hanana nivritti is there. Even though the sun is shining by itself, but since the clouds are covering the sun, until the clouds are removed, the sun is not visible. And therefore we say that the wind has revealed the sun. The wind has removed the clouds. But the cloud nivritti is necessary for accomplishment of the shining of the sun. In that case, in that way we can say that by way of removing the clouds, the wind has become the cause for shining of the sun. In that sense, by bringing about the nivritti, nay has become the cause for audasinyam. Tasmat nayartha sadhyatvam audasinyasya bhavaha. Evam pratyartha abhava buddho vijnanam. Same thing. Pratyartha abhava brings about the knowledge of balavat anishta sadhanatvam. That bhranti goes away, raga goes away, nivrutti comes, and audasinyam gets maintained. Nanu anadi siddhasya pragabhava rupasya audasinya katham tat sadhyatvam iti audasinyam pragabhava rupasya audasinyasya, it should actually katham tat sadhyatvam, that only should be audasinyasya. Nanu anadi siddhasya pragabhava rupasya audasinyasya katham tat sadhyatvam or nayartha sadhyatvam. How do you say that audasinyam is sadhyam, is accomplished? Iti ched, if this is what you have to say, then sadhya uparagena iti brahma. Sadhya uparagena. Since audasinya uparagena here means sambaddhatvena. Since audasinyam is connected with nivrutti sadhya, and audasinyam is connected with nivrutti, therefore we say that audasinyam also is sadhyam. It is nivrutti which is sadhya. But since audasinyam is connected with nivrutti, therefore we say that audasinyam also is sadhyam. That's how we say. तथा ही यदा ही पुरुषे प्रयत्न विशेष रूपा निवृत्ति तदा हनन प्रागभाव इति अन्वय व्याप्ति बलात् यदा ही only when पुरुषे प्रयत्न विशेष रूपा निवृत्ति only when a nivrutti happens in the mind of the person as a result of that buddhi working upon the person and eliminating the bhranti and eliminating raga, that prayatna is involved. So when that nivrutti takes place, tada hanana pragabhava, then alone that audasinyam of the nature of hanana pragabhava